The sky had darkened beyond recognition. Clouds churned like smoke above a burning world, and the air grew heavy with pressure on, unbearable weight of impending catastrophe. It began not with rain, but with silence. The wind stopped, birds vanished, even the trees seemed to hold their breath. Then, in a moment that would never be forgotten by gods or mortals, the heavens split open. Torrents of water poured from the sky in walls, not drops. Thunder cracked like the voice of an angry universe. Earth itself seemed to cry out in pain. It was the Great Deluge, the final act of the Anunnaki War, a cleansing meant to wash away not just rebellion, but memory. The oceans responded, rising with unnatural speed, as if pulled by some force greater than gravity. Rivers overflowed, valleys disappeared, mountains vanished under a tide so vast it seemed endless. Cities once full of light and laughter were drowned beneath black waves. Eridu, the first city, the heart of the Anunnaki's mission, disappeared without a trace. The golden towers, the sacred ziggurats, the archives of knowledge are gone in moments. To the humans who survived the war, the flood was the gods' final answer. They fled, climbed trees, clung to mountain tops, but nothing could stop what came. Whole generations vanished. The old ones, who remembered when gods walked among them, were swept away with their stories. Mothers held their children in arms that could no longer save them. The waters showed no mercy. The earth's surface became a vast sea of silence, with only broken ruins and drifting bodies to tell what had been. But not all was lost. In the quiet before the storm, Enki had acted. Knowing what was to come, he had broken the law of silence and warned a human, his chosen one. Ziusudra, also remembered in later legends as Utnapishtim Atrahasis, or Noah, was a man of wisdom and deep listening. He heard Enki's words not with his ears, but with his soul, and so he began to build not a boat of wood and nail, but a vessel of sacred design, its shape guided by vibration and harmonic codes. It was not meant to sail through water, it was meant to survive divine chaos. Within this vessel Ziusudra placed his family, a few trusted companions, and samples of Earth's essence, seeds from every plant, DNA from every beast, crystals that held knowledge, scrolls that carried memory. It was a time capsule of hope, built not only to preserve life but to continue a story that had nearly ended. As the deluge swallowed the world, Enki watched from above, his heart heavy. He had tried to guide, he had given humanity gifts of learning, of farming, of language, and law. He had hoped that wisdom could balance power, but in the end, pride and fear had consumed his people. The Anunnaki had lost sight of their mission. The war had destroyed more than cities, it had shattered trust, kinship, and the delicate balance between creator and creation. Enlil, too, watched from his ship. He had ordered the purge. He believed it was the only path back to order. But now, seeing the destruction unfold, he felt no satisfaction. Only stillness. The earth, once vibrant and alive with divine intention, had become a graveyard of ambition. He had protected law, yes, but at the cost of life. Days passed. Nights darker than ever before blurred into each other. The stars were gone, hidden behind thick, boiling clouds. Ziusudra's vessel drifted, carried not by currents, but by some unseen force, perhaps fate, perhaps design. Inside, those who remained slept fitfully, haunted by what they had seen and unsure of what would come. Then, finally, it ended. The rains ceased, the wind died, the waters calmed, then slowly receded. Islands of green appeared, soaked and trembling. Birds returned, timid and quiet. Sunlight broke through for the first time in weeks, golden and warm, like a hand of forgiveness reaching from the heavens. Ziusudra opened the vessel. He stepped into a world reborn, not untouched, but purified. The air smelled of wet stone and new beginnings. Around him, life stirred slowly. A deer emerged from the trees. Bees buzzed among broken branches. It was not paradise, but it was alive. That was enough. Enki visited him again, not in body, but in dream. His voice was soft, distant, like wind moving through tall grass. "The world is yours now," he said, "but not yours to rule. You are not a king, you are a steward. Teach your children what we failed to remember. That power must serve life. That wisdom must guide strength. That gods are not to be worshipped blindly, but remembered both for what they gave and what they took." Ziusudra wept, not out of fear, but understanding. He knew what he must do. From the highlands where his vessel had landed, he and his kin began again. They planted seeds, They taught songs. They passed down stories of the Great Flood, of gods who loved and gods who destroyed, of stars that once blinked brighter than any sun. His descendants would become the kings and sages of new cities. Babylon, Akkad, Kemet, and Canaan would rise from their blood, but they would never forget. Stone tablets would be carved, temples would be built, myths would be told again and again, changing names, shifting but always echoing the same truth. There were once gods who came from the sky. They gave knowledge, they waged war, and they brought the flood that ended the first world. And what of the enemy? One by one, they departed Earth. Some returned to Nebu weary and scarred, leaving behind relics and regrets. Others remained in secret, retreating to distant mountains or deep caverns, becoming the hidden watchers and later tailies. A few, like Enki, left traces, codes in DNA, maps in stars, secrets carved into stone for those with eyes to see. The gods were gone, but their legacy remained, in bloodlines, in myths, in monuments aligned to constellations, in languages that carried echoes of the divine, and in the hearts of humans who, though small and fragile, had survived the greatest storm of all. The flood had not ended life. It had cleansed the world of its pride and left a lesson etched across time: that creation is a gift, that knowledge is sacred, and that even gods can fall.